There is different contexts of differentiation. Before you go on the tangent in your mind and say, what is he talking about? That's why the intelligence in the mind could lean towards making things simple and simplified. Of course, there could be a more, elongated definition of differentiation, of course, but before you go on the mind tangent and say, what is he talking about? Let me give you a simple explanation of what differentiation could mean. And if you go into past videos, I've already explained what differentiation is in a whole different element. So there could be different contexts of differentiation with the new intelligence. I'm just holding my end up of the collective humanity's evolution with the talents that God has given me, right? Intelligence, air, whatever. And within that, we're exploring and discovering how we're a product of differentiation, and we're also making more differentiation. So we're a product of differentiation because the simplified definition of differentiation is different elements and different combinations are merging and dancing with other elements and different combinations to make a new product of beingness, human beings, right? And those human beings are a product of differentiation, and those human beings are already differentiated, different combinations of elements to make more differentiation. Like when a human and like when a male and a female come together, genes, differentiated complex genetics, a human, female and male come together and they make a baby. The post created differentiation. So that's what differentiation is. So we are a product of differentiation, combinations of elements with other combinations of elements to make a creation. The humans are a product of differentiation to make more differentiation. And this particular state of differentiation is affected by the transits of the environmental differentiation. So there's different types of differentiation to make just the ambiance of the fucking reality, respectively, life and the matrix, right? Because the differentiation, it has solidified key signature celestial beacons, quote unquote the planets, to uphold the signature of their elemental temperament, the celestial being planets. And they could be multidimensional, most respectively, and they could express themselves in different ways. And they're also in the experiment upon change to make more change, a particular type of differentiation. So within this type of differentiation, what's going on here is like we're our own unique expression of differentiation being affected by the transits of the environment of a particular context of the matrix, a matrix going and being affected by the movements of time and being affected by the different components of time, respectively the planets, and those planets have different temperamental effects and emanations, the planets themselves, to affect the environment's temperament to be what it is, right? So within saying all of that stuff, what am I really talking about? I'm talking about there's different like the planets, they're expressing themselves in different ways, and we're barely catching up to that notion, respectively, because we just haven't had that guidance and intelligence for that to be known to us. So within us being a product of differentiation, and why am I bringing the whole differentiation thing up? Because casually, it's just that's what we are, that's what we're a part of, that's what we're dealing with. We are differentiation, and this particular differentiation is being affected by the transits. So us being a certain type of differentiation, when we go and meet another person and you're engaging with either one person to a large group of people, what's going on in the moment is on a subtle energetic level, most respectively, is and 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 you don't even necessarily have to say a word, because the genetics are exchanging energies in such a way we can't even necessarily understand. When we're encountering other people, what their genetics is doing to your genetics on a subtle energetic level, it's kind of like beyond our knowing and our comprehension, because what they bring within their genetic structure, they're influencing your genetic structure based on what their genes are expressing. So if their genes are expressing something to you and you have receptive areas in your body generally as is, then there's a genetic exchange going on within just any encounters that you're dealing with. There's a genetic exchange, and within those genetic exchanges, it's a particular type of yin yang differentiation, a whole different context of differentiation, where it's in the moment, where the genetics are exchanging energies based on your receptive parts, your open centers, and your defined centers. So it's a particular differentiation when you're meeting with people, and that's a different differentiation from the environmental differentiation, because the environmental differentiation is the transits and how they have a fixed rigid system and how they got set together, and how they're following an accordance of a whole different source energy, and how they're even just being existent in itself, respectively. So there's different types of differentiation. There's environmental differentiation. There's relational, encounter-like differentiations. And then there's standard genetic differentiations from and however you're relating to just general, the general energetic predecessors and, the quote-unquote demigods and gods, end quote, most respectively. And may you interpret that correctly, because obviously when I say demigods and gods, that could trigger into your psyche based on wherever you're at, because we don't necessarily know the not self is that which is unknown to what it really means to be, what it really means for the spiritual intelligence, for what it really means to be its own basedness, for what it really means to be its own purityness. So that's what we're in the world of the not self. So if we're in the world of a leaning towards not self, of course everybody around you is going to be they're not going to know what you're talking about, because we're in the world that goes against the purity teachings of pure spirituality, right? So that's just a swift definition of the not self. So people could use that out of key too, So people could use that out of key, oh, this is not self for you, this is not self. You can only really speak for yourself, because I get the people's psyches and how the arrogance has just caught up to them, and they could proclaim someone to be as not self when you're not living someone else's shoes. So within the air element and the intelligence, you could be off key pretty much, So this is just a general one, and just contemplating how things are fixed in the reality, things are mutable in the reality, obviously, and things are cardinal in the reality, obviously. Basic standard astrology, and within that standard astrology, we're barely catching up and contemplating the fixed components of the mechanics of the matrix. The fixed components of the mechanics of the matrix is 7 days in a week. So why 7? So 7 being, respectively just a standard, angelic body. The five-starred being with 2 wings, obviously. And what it takes to standardize, a standard, shared, focalized group of an angel, different higher beings had to collaborate to see, their shared influence to make the 7, right? 7 days in a week. So within that, in human design, most respectively, Jupiter rules the area of Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius, most respectively. So within the middle of Scorpio season, we're in the middle of Jupiter's rulership, respectively, and and today's Thursday, right? So within that Thursday, we're in the middle. We're in kind of like we're in like the halftime of Jupiter's kind of like his just his unique exaltation from Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius that season. And within that season, Jupiter having a key signature of threshold energies, most respectively. It's fall time in the 3D matrix, and everything's in the reverse. In the dream world, it's springtime. So in the dream world, it's springtime, and Jupiter is in the dream world springtime right now. And it's halftime in fall time because Jupiter has exaltation from Libra, Scorpio to Sagittarius in a respective human design lens, most respectively. And you could check the deets, obviously. And so today's a Thursday, so we're highlighting the halftime of Jupiter's exaltation, most respectively, in the middle of Scorpio season. So within the middle of Scorpio season, there's a brief break. Simultaneously, all the other transits are happening. Sun in Scorpio, Yang expression. See, that's the thing. Our mutable differentiation, most respectively, the differentiation that changes as we're engaging and encountering with other people, genetic, energetic exchanges and trades, it's simultaneously being affected by the transits that are happening, Sun in Scorpio. So our individual differentiation is being affected by the transit of Sun in Scorpio. And within the Sun in Scorpio, within this earthly calendar of a season, different transits have unique exaltations. And within the Sun in Scorpio, there's a allotment slide where it's like one key signature of Scorpio season is pure Yang energy. That Sun, we're identifying, and the surface level, like Earth character temperament, is being identified with pure raw expression. Sun in Gate 1. So within the earthly character, Sun in Scorpio, and then Earth in Taurus, that Earth body in Taurus, the central nighttime party Venus, she's relying on the Christ-like child creation, the Sun, to navigate for her. The Sun being the explorer, and the Earth being the mother, the one that kind of like reels it back in, right? So within all of that being said, the Sun, the explorer, that character, is being influenced. Sun in Scorpio, Sun in Gate 1, Gate 1 being pure Yang. The different contexts of differentiation is being affected and being received by that pure Yang energy. Not good, not bad, just neutral, hopefully with some real understanding and intelligence. And like, if this is too futuristic for you on a pure esoteric level, then so be it, But that's the thing, we're being affected by Sun in Scorpio, pure Yang. And as that character development within how our body's responding to the seasons of Scorpio, our unique genetic differentiation complex is responding to the Sun in Scorpio, simultaneously all the other planets and where they are, and simultaneously the land that we are coming out of. Because the land that we are coming out of, it was a product of different, complex interactions between the celestial beings, aka the different versions of the planets. So, and then Moon conjunct Pluto, heavy transformation could be received. People could have unique, different types of like, underground moments, or just kind of like, deathly moments in just a very tragic way, because that's what Pluto is, perhaps, not necessarily. Or they could have their own, epiphany of just rising like a phoenix. Pluto is also like, exalting phoenix energy, right? Perhaps, more or less. So we could either be on the one side of the coin, we could be either on the other opposite side of the phoenix, or we could be like going towards the phoenix. Moon conjunct Pluto in cusping Capricorn and Aquarius. So within that cusping Capricorn and Aquarius, wind and earth, that's like that's like, that's like refined, refinement respectively, seeing the details of the particles of, quote unquote, particle energy, cause like, the all the intelligence that we're receiving, it's a product of the happenings that were happening from the original celestial beings. So for anybody saying I invented this, I invented that, you would have to like either be God or close to God, and God somehow has his own like, he just has he has his own like record pretty much, and as he's doing that, we could either fall out of that for whatever reason, or we could go back towards that for whatever reason. So with Moon going into Aquarius, we're going to be like we're going to kind of be jet set on a very particular alignment of how a certain context of the solar system is in the age of Aquarius, and the Moon is going to align and be toppled within an Aquarius alignment constellation sector. So within that Moon, we're going to be very feelsy towards like, raw reality of the future, raw reality of this tech shit, raw reality of this innovation shit, raw reality of this advanced logistics shit or not. And then how you bring fake energies or pure energies, who the fuck knows how all the fucking planets respond to that, because this is the number one uncontested intelligence. And however you feel, that's your responsibility in a universal sense. And just kind of like, acknowledging like Jupiter Day, right? Jupiter Day being, we're going in one of the 7 challenges for the challenge of 7. We're on day Jupiter Thursday, and as we're on day Jupiter Thursday, these challenges are like for the rest of our life, because we're in that construct of 7 days a week, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be like that in the future, but that's what kind of like the humans are kind of working with, right? And obviously the underground is the underground, but within that, we're like, we don't necessarily have to like unnecessarily complain, but we could, obviously, being humans. But we're like, we're kind of underplaying the 7 days of the week, because Jupiter's kind of like, on Thursday, Jupiter has low-key secret exalted energies. Thursday, Jupiter's day, and how we bring our different differentiation, our unique differentiation being we all have, all of these planets within us at different, levels, more or less developed. And we have a chance to like, work on what we could work on, but we're ultimately going towards like how to be kind of like, how to be like uniquely expansive, ritualistic, and quote unquote competitive and Olympic, end quote, and self philosophical. That's Thursday for you. So within that Thursday, and obviously like I feel like the planets have their own fucking record. They know who copies, and may I be more graceful with all that shit. But that's what's happening on Thursday today. Like we're kind of having like the halftime of Jupiter, respectively, in the middle of Scorpio season. And after these next couple days, then it's going to be the second half of an exalted Jupiter energy. So Jupiter is like really highlighted from Libra to Sagittarius. So we're in heavy Jupiter energies low key. And within us being in heavy Jupiter energies, and, I already kind of described what Jupiter be like hidden for in one of the recent statements. We're working on that on Thursday. And as we're working on that on Thursday, hopefully like we go in and out of our own like life to come back to reality to see where we're at within our Jupiter shit. And if other people don't resonate, that's cool. That they're at where they're at, we're at where we're at, But like this is like the Jupiter day type of shit. And within that Jupiter day, respectively, being in the middle of Scorpio season, we could more or less, ironically kind of chill out. But the sun is in Scorpio, yang expression. So this is an energetic thing, So since it's like since it's sun in Scorpio, it's like the transits are affecting what we're doing right now on a low-key subconscious level. And, this is like, I'm like this is like really, I'm like really neutral, and like, you know, everyone could react how they could react, and they could interpret it how they could interpret it. Obviously, that's part of the great experiment. This is like fearless intelligence, but it's not. But if you, it's not. I don't personally think it's like foolish, because I'm filling it. I'm clearing out the confusion. That's why. So I'm gonna end it right there, and I'll come back. You know, I'll come back as always. Thank you.